Today's episode of the Kim Jacobs Show. Listen, we have a great show lined up for you. I'm your host, Kim Jacobs, better known as the Balance Doctor. And all of our guests that come on, they're either people that have overcome some tremendous odds in their own lives as they balance this thing called life, or they're experts and they're here to share tips and strategies that will help you better balance and manage your life. Grab your virtual seats and let's get ready for some real, relevant, and relatable content on today's episode of the Kim Jacobs Show. Hello, everyone, and welcome to this episode of the Kim Jacobs Show. How are you, Charmaine?
I am doing good, thank you.
Oh, good. You look beautiful over there, that's for sure.
Thank you.
I'm so glad to have you here. We met actually through some social media outlets, and everyone, as you're grabbing your seats, it's so good to just be able to network with people, even people that you don't know all the time. It shouldn't always just be within your friend circle, but expanding an opportunity to learn about new people. And I have had the distinct pleasure of meeting Charmaine Thompson. And this beautiful vessel here is an author. She's the author of Faith in the Midst of Adversity, Words of Life You Can Live By, which is a 52-week faith journey and journal for you to be able to implement into your life. She's also a minister, a radio personality. She is a grief and loss counselor, an advocate for women. She loves working and loving on women. And she is also a conference coordinator. You're going to hear more about that today as well. Welcome, Charmaine, to the Kim Jacobs Show.
Thank you so much for having me on today.
I'm so glad to have you. As you all are in the seats as well, glad to have you and so grateful. Let us know where you're tuning in from and visiting in from. You make the show what it is. So as the virtual studio audience, without you, we don't have a show. So thank you for being in attendance. Today, we're talking about quite a few things, but one is to make sure that we understand the words that can really shape our lives, the outcome, the destiny. What are some things that we're saying to ourselves that's really just hindering us and not allowing us to flourish as individuals? Charmaine's here today to talk from multiple perspectives. One is from a book that she wrote in the beginning of her years, which is Faith in the Midst of Adversity, Faith Over Fear. That book speaks volumes, Charmaine. When I think about faith over fear and adversity, there are some things clearly that maybe you've had to overcome in your own life that had you write this book. Let's talk from that perspective for a few moments. What are some things you had to overcome?
So when I was very young, at age 9 to 10, I was raped by a family friend that my parents trust to take care of me. For years, I felt defeated, alone, feel like I couldn't talk to anyone about this. At the age of 12, I'm originally from Jamaica. Okay. So at the age of 12, I came here, a new life, thinking I was running away from that, my life would be better. When I came here, my life was better. But in the midst of that, went to school and got bullied. It was like, oh my God, I was from feeling defeated there to come in here feeling like lost, feel like I had nobody. Even I had my family around me, and I have a very good family. It was hard for me to even share those things that happened to me. So I remember coming here, going to a new school, feeling alone, feeling defeated, coming home every day, was bullied every day in school. And I remember coming home one day, and it's as if God was talking to me through.
And what was he saying?
I was listening to a TV show that was on, and it was a religious TV show. And God said to me, and I wrote this in my second book. He said to me, you can make it through this. I came home that day feeling defeated, having suicide thoughts, like maybe I don't need to be around here anymore. So,
and this is at the age of 12, by the way, right?
This is the age of 12.
So even young people at the age of 12 and younger are having suicidal thoughts,
yes,
because of possible bullying that's happening that parents aren't even aware of.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's unbelievable. Go ahead.
So, that day is like the Lord was speaking to me. He said to me, you can make it through this. You have to fight back. I tell you, I heard that, and it's as if the power from God came all over me. I felt so free. I went to school the next day. Of course, every day when I went to school, my bully was right in front of my locker.
Right.
So I went to school and I was so bold. I said, no longer will you beat me up. I am someone special. So she decided to punch me. And of course, I handled myself.
You did your thing then, huh?
I did my thing. At the end of that, she started crying out, say, please forgive me. And, then I realized that God was on my side. It was then I realized that I can do anything. I think when you trust in God, he will make what seemed impossible possible for you. So then that girl became my best friend from then on. And I thank God for that. It was that journey that took me to being bold. It was that journey then I was able to talk to other people, other young people that was in my peers. So you can make it through this. I was so bold. It's as if God gave me boldness in the moment that he spoke to me. Now that journey went on, and God has put destiny helpers in my life. Sometimes you have people that come around you, that pour into you, that don't even know what's going on in your life.
That's right.
But I had destiny helpers that helped me on my way when I was in my teenage years. I remember this lady, Grace Moore. I will never forget her. She was a nurse. She was a nurse supervisor where I was working. And every day this woman poured into me. She poured into me, had no clue what I was going through. And I thank God for her. Also, there was a man called Dr. Ernest Cruz. That man was a man of, God put that man in my life because he teach me how to serve and to serve people. And when you serve people, great things come to your life without you even knowing it.
That's
because you just serve them, and great things come from that. In 2022, the Lord put in my spirit that I need to write a book. I don't know anything about writing a book. And let me tell you, as I say, God put destiny helper to help you. He put that in my spirit, and I was like, Lord, it was when pandemic just hit. And I was like, nobody going to read my book at this point. So many things going on, right?
Right.
So he told me that to write the book. And I was like, God, I don't know how to start. I know I've been writing things down for years, what happened in my life. He said, that's what you need to put in your book.
That's the point.
I put a destiny helper came by, and she was a producer for books.
See? So you don't even know who God's going to put in your place, because we only know in part different things, but we have to move and execute in some level of direction so that he can start putting the people in your path that's supposed to encounter you, right?
Absolutely.
That is
Absolutely.
awesome.
So
So with go.
she gave me instruction and direction what to do. So my book came out in 2022.
That's
21,
awesome. Awesome.
2021.
So then after you had this direction from this book coach, basically, you got the opportunity to have your first book come out. And one of the chapters that you talk about is having faith over fear. You actually, it's called Fear Will Not Keep You Captive. So that's a huge chapter in my opinion. Talk about how fear won't keep you captive from your perspective as an author.
So, sometimes fear fear will cause you not to do anything. God will put something in your spirit, and because of fear, it will cause you to think that you're less than. You're not good enough. You can't do nothing at all. There was something that I put in this book that helps me personally. And when you identify fear, the fear that you're experiencing, you have to face it in order to change it.
That's right.
So there is 7 archetype that I put in this book. And
Okay.
see if any of these you can identify with.
Okay.
Procrastinator, a people pleaser, the rule follower, an outcast, a self-doubter, an excuse maker, and a procrastinator. Wait a minute. I said procrastinator already.
Procrastinator, excuse maker, people pleaser. You said a lot already.
The outcaster, the self-doubter, and the excuse maker. So there are 6
Wow.
of them.
Yeah.
In 2 of them stand out to me because I was there before. And that's the self-doubter. I used to doubt myself that I can't do nothing. People ask me to do something. I'm like, no, I can't do that. Ask somebody else to do it because I can't do that. That's something that a lot of us go through. A self-doubter they can sometimes feel it difficult to put themselves out there.
That's good.
And even the flip side of that, judge others to make them their own self feel better.
Yeah.
Sometimes you judge others because you yourself have a lot of self-doubt.
Right. So really they're deflecting what they're going through themselves and putting it on other people.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So whatever a person may be experiencing, whether it's procrastination, self-doubt, people pleasing, making excuses, all of these things that you're talking about in your book that will help people get over fear. If they're experiencing and encountering this, that's sometimes what they're rubbing off on other people with the same way. Is that what you're saying?
Yes.
Interesting.
Yes, definitely. And an outcaster. Sometimes we feel rejected, thinking that you can't do anything at all. So then you rub that on other people. You feel rejected, and you often reject other people to avoid being hurt.
That's good.
Yeah.
So how do you recommend that people stop doing stuff like that? Because if you've written a whole book about it, what advice do you give people to stop that bad cycle?
First, you have to identify these things. You have to identify them to change it, right? So if you're a self-doubter, you have to identify that you're a self-doubter. I would recommend motivate yourself. Go to classes on this. They have a lot of classes. They have a lot of motivational speakers. Some of this, sometimes maybe you need to talk to somebody about it. It's okay to go and sit in somebody's chair.
Right.
And talk about it. It's okay to talk about these things because sometimes they comes from our past. Things that happened to us in our past sometimes make these stuff show up in us, right?
So that we don't even know exist.
And you don't even know it exists. And you keep on doing the cycle. You keep on doing it over and over and over again. But you have to identify this. Now, I remember my pastor said to me, if somebody tell you you're doing something, don't take it as they're putting you down or anything like that. You need to do a self. You need to tell yourself, am I really doing these things?
Right.
And work on that. Because if 2 or 3 people are telling you the same thing, then
Right.
something is wrong, you know? So you need to think about that and try to change some things. There's things that you cannot change on your own, and you do
Right.
need help. So if you do need help, go to those people that can help you, because you don't want to do the same cycle over and over again. Because in
Yes.
all of us, we need to grow. And in order for us to grow, there's some stuff that we have to put off. There's some
Mhm.
stuff that we cannot do anymore because it's keeping us from reaching to our goal. In all of
Mhm.
our life, we have destiny and purpose. God has created us with destiny and purpose inside of all of us. And when you know your destiny and when you know your purpose, you can live a life of freedom, really.
That's right.
You can live a life of freedom. So all those that I put archetype, they are very good things just to go over. Each archetype, I put what the meaning of all these are in the
That's
book,
good.
Faith in the Midst of Adversity. So it could help the people, identify, where are you? Am I a self-pleaser? Am I a procrastinator? Because some of us, I remember, used to procrastinate, put things off so much. Yeah, I'm going to do this. Or I have dreams. I want to be this. But 10 years, 5 years pass, and I'm still procrastinating and nothing happened.
Mm.
So, this book will help you to identify where you at in your life right now. So in 2023, the Lord laid it on my heart to release our other book. It's a journal. It's Word of Life, a 52 weeks faith inspirational journal. And what
Okay.
that
I'm going to
does,
put that up as well. And let me do this before I put that up because people are chiming in and I want to make sure I get Dr. Zakia's comment. She said, faith despite adversity. Thank you so much, Charmaine, for sharing this information. And she's a part of diversity and inclusion. You can connect with her on LinkedIn, but she is a powerhouse as well and wanted to comment on your segment here. And then I see people tagging people as well. I also want to put this sexual abuse hotline up. Anytime I have a guest come on and you're sharing rape and childhood situations that you've had to overcome at that magnitude, we
yes.
want to let you all know in the community, if you're dealing with situations like this, please reach out to 1-800-656-4673. Again, that's 800-656-4673. That's the National Sexual Abuse Hotline in the United States. If you're in a different country watching this, make sure you reach out to your local sexual abuse hotline as well. All right. So now you say in 2023, another book was birthed.
Yes.
And that book is called Words of Life. Oh, this is a piece of it. Okay. So I got to go get the whole flyer. But Words of Life. And put the book up, if you will, so we can see that. And I went to your page. So let me go back to your page and try and get a whole image. But talk to us about your book, Words of Life.
Yes. So this book, Word of Life, a 52 weeks faith inspirational journal. What I did, so there's certain things that we don't talk about, and God tell us certain things. I'm gonna, in the beginning of the book, I wrote word of affirmation. Some of us don't give affirmation to ourselves. So in the beginning of the book, I wrote some affirmation. I am qualified, equipped, blessed, confident, prepared, free, empowered, redeemed, talented, anointed, forgiven, and accepted by God. These are
Oh.
affirmation that I say to myself every morning. Because
How
sometimes,
important is it to say those affirmations? Because sometimes when people read books with affirmations, it's just words because they're saying it, okay, I am powerful, I am worthy, I am a child of God, I am motivated, I am a difference maker, I am more than enough. It's saying all of these things, but how do you really get them to be embedded in your spirit, man, to be able to be something that you apply to your life?
so when I say these words, after I say my devotion in the morning, some of these words I I know I'm not there at the moment, but speaking these words do something to my spirit. Speaking these words make me feel stronger and better. Like I'm confident to know that I'm here and alive. I'm confident to know that God has chosen me. So when I say these words, I say it with a conviction. I say knowing that if I don't, if I'm not this right now, that I'm going to get there.
Yes, yes. Well,
So I speak it out in the atmosphere, right?
how many of you all in the studio audience are willing to apply some of these affirmations, just speaking it out in the atmosphere? I see you saying, "Good morning, mom." Hey, mom. I see you out there, Colin, saying, "Reveal it to heal it." And then Colin also says, "Say it every single day." That's really good, Colin. Thank you for chiming in. All right, so
And
saying these words every
yes,
day,
every day, every day,
every day.
every
And
day.
now in this journal, what can people expect when they get a copy of Words of Life, this 52 weeks of faith and inspiration in this journal? What can they expect from that?
They can expect to be the best version of themselves. There's some stuff that we ask ourselves, but then we don't pray about it. We're like, God, well, maybe. So I'm gonna give you one of the scriptures that I wrote in the book. So every week you get a different scripture, and also I give a question.
Okay.
Um, Let your light so shine before men that they may see your good works and glorify your Father in heaven. Let me see here.
Let
How
your
do you?
light, when you think, while she's looking that up, when you think of letting your light shine before men, you're a bright light. You are an inspiration. People need you. Without you, the whole world is missing out on
Mhm.
what could be something that they can only learn from you.
Yeah.
So be that bright light and let your light shine before men. Go ahead, Charmaine.
How do you think people see you? That's one of the questions that I write that you can journalize on. How do you think people see you? Do they see the God in you? How do they really see you? The other question was, are you showing up as the best version of yourself? Are you showing up as the best version of yourself? Do they see the light of God in you?
Mm.
And because they're seeing the light on you, you're shining so bright that they can see the best version of you. Because it's not about you, it's about the light of God that's inside of you.
That's good.
So
I'm
in
typing
every
what you're saying too. So how do people really see you? And are you showing up as the best version of yourself? These are questions that Charmaine tackles right in that 52-week journal that you can get access to. How do people get access to your journal?
so you could go to Amazon and put in Charmaine Thompson, Word of Life, a 52 weeks faith inspirational journal. Or if you want to tag me on Facebook, I can personally send it to you, which
Okay, let me
is
put that here too. Because people, to stay connected with you, they
Mhm.
can, you really heavily are on Facebook, right?
Yes, yes.
Okay, so Charmaine Thompson on Facebook. She's in a yellow dress, so you can know what color it is and everything. A bright light that you'll find right on Facebook. And if you're following her and should be following her on Instagram, is Charm Care, the number 11, and that's for my podcast listeners. Charm Care number 11. And on Facebook is Charmaine Thompson. You can also follow her at Woman of Power Charm Care on her YouTube channel, so you can get all of her latest videos. There's a conference that you have coming up, and I want to make sure that people know how to register for that event as well. So talk to us about it.
So I have a conference that I do every year for the past 3 years. The first conference that I did was in 2021. All right, 2021, and it was moving forward. From that conference, 80 ladies show up to this conference, and we had such a great time. We talk about mental health, finance, insurance, and real estate. The second year we talk about, which was this year past, 2023, mental health, grief and loss, insurance, and finance. We also had a fashion show afterwards. I tell you, the conference was phenomenal. The grief and loss speaker, because a lot of people was going through grief at that time. So it was touching to a lot of the ladies, them that was going through grief. And also a lot of them was going through mental health. We gave them the resource that they need to help them in this this time. Also, this year, we're having the third conference, and that's a woman wellness conference, April the 13th, moving forward, walking in your destiny.
Walking in your destiny. Now, is this a virtual conference or is this in person?
It's an in-person conference.
And where is it located? Because that's going to determine.
It's located in Abington. Now, the flyer that is on Facebook. Wait,
where's Abington? I don't even know.
That's in Philadelphia.
Okay, I'm like, hello, Ambler. I got to say something.
It's in Ambler in Philadelphia. So
okay.
On my Facebook page, there's other flyer that tells you all the speakers and where the conference will be, and also all the different topic that each person will be talking about.
Okay. Well, listen, I am excited that you stopped by today to be a part of today's episode of the Kim Jacobs Show. If you are anywhere near the Philadelphia area, then definitely you want to be a part of the conference that is being referenced here. But really, you'll be able to keep all of the information in your toolbox if the books, and let me put those back up, the books that are available right on Amazon, that's pretty much going to help change your thought process, your mindset. Faith in the Midst of Adversity is the first book that Charmaine Thompson wrote, and then a new 52-week journal that is also available on Amazon, Words of Life. And lots of life can be flourished if you can get a hold to, as my grandma say, get a hold to some good words that can help shape your mind and transform your mind. And then, of course, the conference that she talked about today as well, which is on April 13th, 2024. So you have plenty to stay connected with Charmaine Thompson about. Give us a closing comment, and then we're going to get ready to I'm going to bring this person in, actually. Babette, how are you?
Hello. Hi, how are you, Kim?
I see you backstage. You're going to be the second half of the Kim Jacobs Show. Welcome, welcome. How are you?
Doing well. I hope you are.
Doing well. And we're going to be talking with you about how to care for an aging parent that battles dementia. So right after our commercial break, we'll be coming back with Babette. But I want to hear a closing comment from you, Charmaine.
Keep on pushing, keep on believing, think big, take action, and execute. Thank you so much for having me on.
Thank you for being here. Stay connected with Charmaine. I'll put it in the comment sections as well. Charm Care 11 on Instagram, Facebook, Charmaine Thompson, YouTube, Woman of Power, Charm Care. You have blessed us today by being here, and I cannot wait to talk to you some more, okay?
Thank you for the opportunity.
All right, everybody, we're going to take a quick commercial break, and we're going to come right back with Coach Babette right after this commercial break.
Take care.
Take care.
Why learn about health when you can experience it? Experience it in beautiful Florida in February 2024. Join us for 3 days of integrative and intensive health and healing education and empowerment with the expertise of the following Healthopedia author, speaker, and facilitators. The world-renowned homeopath and acupuncture physician, Dr. James Marinakis, 4-decade health coach and holistic nutritionist, Dr. Joe D. Bear, and others such as Kimberly Meredith, Dame Doria Cordova, Rex Sykes, Dr. Gary Sanchez, Jamie Kerr, Serena Brown-Travis, and more. Experience daily morning walking and yoga, interactive participation, panel discussions, and more for your own epiphany of health. Get your tickets now.
All right, everyone, and we are back. We're back with Coach Babette. Am I saying your name right?
You are, Kim.
Oh, okay. You've been a financial coach for over a decade, helping individuals, couples, and families get out of debt and live financially stable. After getting bogged with insane and unnecessary debt yourself over the course of your marriage, which we can talk a little bit about if you like, you devised a plan that worked and paid off I'm gonna let you say that's some good stuff. And then ultimately you went into providing some caregiving services for a family member, and we'll talk more about that as well. But welcome to the Kim Jacobs Show, Coach Babette. How are you?
Doing well. Thank you so much for having me on, Kim. I really appreciate it.
Thank you so much for being here. So everyone, we're talking with Coach Babette, but she has been in this financial world. Talk to us just briefly about your business world that you've been in for many years and how that came to a climax and culminated in your life.
Well, I was in corporate America my entire life until I had my daughter, and I wanted to come home and raise her, but I was in an insane amount of debt. You want me to go ahead and share that number now?
Yeah, go ahead and share the number.
We were married and we were dual income, no kids, dinks, and we were in $96,000 worth of credit card debt. Insane, stupid, didn't need to be in that, just dumb debt, bottom line.
Dumb debt. Somebody type that, dumb debt. I don't think I've ever heard of that.
I actually have a program called Dump Debt and Live Free because it was dumb debt, and I own that. And we made a tremendous amount of income. That's why I say it was dumb debt, because there was no reason for it. It was just a bunch of young kid stupidity, quite honestly. But that brought about my business and helping change other families' lives. So you never know what journey your life is going to take and how it's going to change other people's lives. And I'm grateful for that. But after we had our daughter, I wanted to come home and raise our daughter. That was the plan all along, because in my corporate America, I worked about 60 hours a week. I was a 1031 tax deferred exchange qualified intermediary. So that was a lot of detailed work. And I wanted to raise my daughter and be a stay-at-home mom. And I couldn't do that with $96,000 worth of credit card debt because we needed my income. And so I devised a plan, and we worked that plan diligently. And in 30 months, we paid off $96,000 worth of that debt. And I came home, and I've been home ever since. August of 2008 was the day that I came home. I will never forget paying off American Express. Was the last one that I paid off at 4:30 in the morning. And I turned in my resignation that morning, and came home to her in August of 2008. I'll never forget the time I went into the daycare, took her out, and she graduates high school in May of this year. And I've been home ever since. I started my financial coaching business in October of 2012, and I've been doing it ever since. And I help families, couples, and individuals all over the country.
Wow. So now, with you making that decision to pay off that debt, it's just a very intentional decision. And so you were able to start executing. How do you recommend people when they do realize they know that there is significant debt over their head, over all of people's heads, right?
Yes.
To be able to start taking some initial step toward paying it off and ultimately having it paid off. What advice would you give in those situations? Because you got to start somewhere.
First of all, I believe that you have to own it. You have to really realize and look at the statements and own what you're doing in your life, because a lot of us just go through the motions in life and say, oh, it's just a payment. It's just a payment. And as Americans, that's what we've done. We are now, as an American society, in 1 trillion with a T, $1 trillion worth of credit card debt. Now, think about that for a minute. $1 trillion worth of credit card debt. And we are the richest country in the world. Why? Because we want what we want when we want it. And we have no desire to do the old fashioned, like our parents did, the layaway plan. We want it now, and we're going to get it now, no matter what the cost. And the cost is 28%, 30% in this day and time. And that's monthly. And, the credit card companies are now required to show how long it's truly going to take to pay off a credit card. And most of the people that come to me, they had no clue really how much credit card debt they were in until they realized they couldn't make those monthly payments anymore. Because
that's really good advice that you're giving. Taking ownership of it and looking at the statements and bite-sized piecing it or trying to pay it in full. What do you suggest? Because you did it.
Well, I suggest that you look at it all and you write down, every single one, and you just really embrace, where you are and own it first. And, if you don't have a budget and you aren't, savvy with numbers, I've been working on numbers since I was 14 years old. I started doing tax returns at 14. So numbers have been my thing my entire life. So I believe that if you aren't savvy with numbers, reach out to someone like me and let me help you first create a budget, really see where you truly are. And if all you can do is pay the minimum payment, let's start there. But you really need to figure out, how long is this going to take? Also, you've got to stop using the cards. You've got to adjust your lifestyle. And if that means cutting back on things, the easiest thing to cut back on immediately is stop eating out. Bottom line, that is entertainment. That is not a requirement to eat. The grocery store is where we eat. Eating out is entertainment. Bottom line.
That's good advice. Okay. Eating out is entertainment, according to Babette. So keep that in mind as you're making some conscious financial decisions. How do they stay connected with you, Babette, regarding your financial piece? I know we're going to talk about caring for your parent as well, but I would like to know how they can connect with you with this.
You can reach out to me. I'm Coach Babette on all social media channels, Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn. Instagram is usually where I post consistently every day. So reach out to me there. You can go to coachbabette.com, email me at babette@coachbabette.com. And I just launched a new website that is focused strictly on engaged, newlywed, and married couples and how to handle your finances so that you do have a good, solid, firm marriage. And that's called ifinanciallydo.com.
Okay, so Coach Babette at what.com for the email?
Babette at coachbabette.com. Just coachbabette.com.
Perfect. Okay, I want to capture all of this. And then I want to make sure before we're going to, wait a minute. What is the last thing you just said about the couples?
ifinanciallydo.com.
Financially, that's really good.
Because
that's an epic conference. Yes. I financially redo and I still financially do. I got girl, that's some good stuff right there. Oh my God.
Because everybody says I do at the altar, but my question to you is, do you really do financially? Do you financially do? because 50% of all marriages end in divorce, and most of them end due to finances.
Oh my gosh. If you are married, visit, because this is really, I mean, I'm putting a lot of stuff here, but this is some good stuff. And this isn't even what we were going to talk about, right?
I know.
Now I have you coming on and we're talking about caring for an aging parent with dementia.
I know.
But I know your background, and I was like, we have to capture some of this, you know?
Yes.
So stay connected with Babette. You can do that on all social media outlets at Coach Babette, but then her email is babette@coachbabette.com. That's correct,
Cool.
right? Okay.
Babette@coachbabette.com. Yes, I see it there.
And then if you're married, make sure you visit ifinanciallydo.com.
That is correct. You got it, Kim.
This show is bringing balance to the world, y'all, one household at a time. So I'm telling you, you definitely want to pour into the Kim Jacobs Show. Take a moment today. I know it's the beginning of the week. You're trying to budget and figure out where your finances are going. Take a moment to shift some of those finances over to the Kim Jacobs Show, okay? You can do that through Cash App, Kimjacobsinc. You can also do it through PayPal by just typing in paypal.me/KimJacobsInc, and it'll, whatever amount, it doesn't matter what amounts you give, it's all greatly appreciated. And Venmo at the Kim Jacobs Show. All right, so we're going to take a quick commercial break. When we come back, we're going to hear more from Coach Babette, but from a personal perspective of how she's cared for a parent with dementia. We'll be right back right after this break. Make sure I unmute here. All right, we are back. It keeps you muted after the commercial for a few extra seconds. I'm like, hey, unmute me. I have something to say. All right, so I want to go back, and you had your former husband, and you had been dating, that you were dating when you were like 20 years old.
Mhm.
And I want you to take us on that journey of what transpired, what ultimately led to you caring for someone very important to you.
Okay. Well, this goes way, way back. I started dating my former husband. We are now divorced, unfortunately. And some of that had to do with finances. I'll just be very transparent with your audience. So that's partly why I do what I do.
Right.
And that's why the couples thing is so important to me, because I want to save as many marriages as I can with regard to finances.
Right.
But going back in the day, his mom had early onset of Alzheimer's disease and dementia before I ever started dating him. And I was 20 whenever we started dating back in 1989.
Okay. Yeah, I read that. I was like, this is a long time ago.
She was
And she had already had dementia before you started.
That is correct. She was 57 whenever she was diagnosed. So it was considered early onset. So I was 20 whenever we started dating. And her husband, Harold Cauble, passed away a year after we started dating. He was the caregiver for her, the entire time up until his passing. And then my former husband took over that role and actually took care of her full time for 9 months. And then, I helped as much as I could. Of course, I worked full time. And then he had to, of course, get a job because of finances and so forth. So she was put in what was known in Charlotte as adult daycare. Okay. At that time, she was able to do that. So just like a child that you put in daycare, I would actually go and pick her up from daycare after I got off work. Now, mind you, I was 21 years old doing this. We were not married. We were engaged at that time. But we were not married, not living together or anything like that. I was just helping out because I'm huge on family. I'm a firm believer in, family is everything to me.
Right.
People that know me know that.
Yeah, yes.
So I just was like, I can help out because my former husband is an only child. So he didn't have anybody to rely on. And so I was there. So I would go and pick her up from adult daycare, and she would stay with me until he got off work. He was in the restaurant business. And sometimes, that would be 7, 8, 9, sometimes even later than that. And if it was too late to be at my apartment, I would then take her over to their home and stay with her until he got home. And then I would leave and go back to my place.
So you were already an honorable wife before you ever became a wife. That's what you were. What I would consider a Proverbs 31 woman in an early age in your 20s.
Well, thank you, Kim, for saying that, because I always aspired to that. And actually, Proverbs 31 was actually spoken at our wedding and read at our wedding. So that's an honor that you said that. So,
and I didn't know that either, did I?
But so we did that for many years, and then we got married, of course, and had to put her in a home because she got to the point that she had to have that ongoing care. Mm-hmm. Because something that happens with Alzheimer's, especially whenever it's early onset, is they deteriorate quite slowly. Mm. But whenever they start to, it's a slow process, but then you have to make decisions like, do we want her to have a feeding tube or not? And so he made the decision to have a feeding tube put in. And so a feeding tube was put in, and she then went from, I don't remember the actual medical term of it, but it was like from assisted care to skilled care, and then for full-time care and so forth. So she was in then a nursing home. Mm-hmm. She was in a nursing home for a while in Hendersonville because she couldn't get a bed here in Charlotte. But then she was brought to Charlotte, thank goodness. And she was out in the Matthews area. But she actually, her husband passed in 1990, and I adored Harold. I mean, he was like a father to me, even though I only really knew him a year before he passed. And she actually lived until 2005. So think about that. That was 15 years of my life from
1989.
Yeah.
1989.
Yeah. But like caring for her from 1990 until 2005. So even though she was in a nursing home, of course, we went out and visited, and then, took care of laundry from time to time, purchased clothing, made sure her medical things were taken care of. I remember vividly the phone would ring in the middle of the night. She would be going to the hospital. We would get up, go to the hospital, be there, different cares that we had to do. The feeding tube would get, to be a challenge. So we would have to, decide how that would be taken care of. Right. There was even a point that doctors wanted to talk about removing the feeding tube. That is a challenge and a process through North Carolina that we opted not to do because I don't think that that's a humane thing to do. But what we always tried to do was do the best for her. Mm-hmm. So even though she was in a nursing home, and I will always feel very honorable towards my former spouse for this, is whenever we could, in the early days of her being in a nursing home, we would bring her back to her home for all of the holidays so that she could spend time in her home. Yes. And then we would take her back to the nursing home at the end of the day so that she did have holidays, at her home as much as she could in those early days. So, very involved. I would go sit with her a lot on my own. And, just talk to her and put pictures on the wall, and just try to do everything that I could. She always called me the girls. She never knew my name. She just said, hi, you're the girls. We used to hula together. Whatever, she could still walk and everything. She basically had the mindset of a 3-year-old whenever I first met her. And I just, tried to be the best I could to her. She loved ice cream.
It really sounds like it, and I'm glad that you're here sharing this journey today. Is that her there?
Yes, that's Rose whenever she was young, and her husband Harold. So,
and they look like they Hollywood bound right there. You can't tell them nothing in that photo, right?
Yes.
You know what? The interesting part is, and this is.
Yes, this is Rose. This was at our wedding in 1996, and that's a younger me and my former husband.
Look at you, girl. Y'all a whole Hollywood family over there. Y'all doing it. Y'all doing it. That is so amazing. The thing that when we come back, we're going to take a commercial break, but when we come back, I would just love to hear you share some closing thoughts on ideas and tips for people that are still caring for parents with dementia, because you went to some extremes to make it a beautiful experience for Miss Rose. So you and your husband, your ex-husband, it sounds like, which is a bond I'm sure you all have for life as a result of that, in addition to your daughter, your lovely daughter. But talk to us just about some tips and ideas on what you'd recommend for people that are still caring for these individuals that are alive, when we come right back. We're going to take a commercial break, and we're going to talk more with Coach Babette, right after this break.
Nothing says I love you more than final expense insurance whole life protection. With funeral advocacy nationwide, saving you and your family 30 to 80% off funerals and cremations. Nothing says I love you more than Get Insured Solutions, LLC. GetInsured.Solutions, 704-499-3616.
All right, everyone, we're back. And the first half of the show, we talked with Charmaine Thompson, and we talked about words for life. I want to make sure you all know that you can definitely get a copy of her book. A great interview if you missed the beginning of the show. Charmaine Thompson, you can get it right on Amazon and learn how to speak some of these words of life. Now we've been talking with Coach Babette, and she talked about being able to be financially out of debt when she personally experienced that with over $96,000 of debt, and how she paid it off from a business perspective. And then we've been ending our discussion talking about her caring for her mother-in-law that she wasn't her mother-in-law at the time when she was in her 20s, caring for her, but just being a wonderful person and going with her on her journey. Talk to us, if you would, on how to encourage people that are currently dealing with parents with dementia. Any thoughts?
I would definitely say you always want to take time for yourself, because one thing that I definitely want to point out is whenever we were on this journey, we had to actually hire someone to come in and take care of her. And that was extremely expensive. I mean, just to get some time away, we had to have somebody come in and watch her and take care of her just to get some time away. So you always need to do self-care whenever you're caring for someone else. And people seem to think that's selfish, but if you don't take care of yourself, you aren't ever going to be able to pour into that loved one. And so always think about it. It's not selfish, it's self-preservation. So make sure that you do that. Know that whatever you can give them is what they need. You can't give them everything because you still have a life, but know that whatever you can give them is what they need, and that is okay. Don't go into guilt, because whenever we do something for our loved one, that is enough. Mm-hmm. And especially, if you're a believer that, Kim, as you and I are, God will guide you through this journey. I can't say that I ever thought, I never had parents that were ill or anything. And for, a future mother-in-law to have this challenge And for me to walk this journey, never in my wildest dreams, but
Right.
God guided me through it. And at a very young age as well. So I believe that he will guide you through whatever you walk through in life. So just, walk through it and have an open mind and know that they once cared for you. So you can definitely care for them if your heart is in the right place, because those moments matter. And even whenever you don't believe that they understand, I can prove and tell you that they do, because I want to share in closing this with you. The last time that we saw Greg's mom alive was on Mother's Day of 2005. And she did not speak for many, many years. But that day, sorry, I still get choked up about it. But that day, she tapped his cheek and she said, Gregory. And she passed away 4 days later. And on top of that, 2 weeks later, I got pregnant with our daughter. There's a plan. There's truly a plan. So.
I just want to take a moment and acknowledge that we don't always know what God's plan is, but he has a plan for our lives, and they're good and they're not evil. They're good for us. And whatever he did in that moment in your life, Babette, it helped, in my opinion, shape the wonderful coach that you've become. Because without those experiences, I don't believe you even can have the level of empathy that comes out of your pores. So I'm just really grateful that we've had this opportunity to have this conversation today. You all stay connected with Coach Babette. You can stay connected with her from a business perspective at this point. But if you obviously want just some additional insight for her personal life, she's here to share it as well. Absolutely. Tell them how they can stay connected with you one more time.
You can reach out to me on any social medias, Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn. You can email me at Babette@coachbabette.com or coachbabette.com, or my newest website is ifinanciallydo.com for engaged, newlywed, and married couples.
There you have it, everybody. Make sure you stay connected. Make sure you stay connected with our first guest, Charmaine. And Charmaine Thompson, you can definitely go to her Facebook page because she has a big conference coming up that you definitely want to go ahead. If you're in the Philadelphia area, register for it and you'll have a great experience. And then also to get her book, Words of Power, Words of Life. Because to me, it's words of power. Because if you use these words and empower yourself to apply these words, you're going to have some words of life, which is her book right on Amazon. So make sure you grab a copy of that and just have a better outcome for your life in 52 weeks. That's what that is about. It's a 52-week journal for you to apply to your life with scriptures included. All right. So that's today's episode. And I'm so grateful that you took the time to be here today, Babette. Thank you all in the studio audience for tuning in. I know I saw some comments. I don't want to, let me take Yeah, okay. Charmaine said, thank you so much. And then I saw Dr. Lotus Rashay. Mackenzie, pop that comment up too. What a fabulous discussion. Y'all make sure you check out Lotus Rashay Ignites show. You definitely want to do that as well. She has great content over there. And families should be in charge of what happens when family members are in the hospitals or nursing homes. And as we close out today, she also said we must be involved because we are not often our family members. They're not treated well sometimes in situations like that. So great caregivers will work for organizations, and we must form relationships with those individuals. That's some good stuff, Dr. Lotus. Oh my gosh. Okay. Thank you so much, Babette. I'm going to let you go because I know you had an appointment. But before I close out, everyone, I'm going to play this last thing that I want you to know about Dr. Lotus Rashay. It is an actual planner that you want to get a copy of, okay, you go ahead and you can either stay on or you can hop off. I want to honor your time. But here, real quick, and then we're going to close out. Wait a minute. Here we go.
Ignite your life and seize the new year by effectively planning it with your 2024 Ignite and Take Flight Planner. It's time to navigate your success with strategic project management. Win with inspiring quotes from inspirational people that will guide you to the success you deserve. And don't forget to track your dollars, habits, empowering notes, and connect with dynamic brands. It's never too late to start planning your success. Get your copy now.
All right, everyone. That is the planner that you want to go ahead and grab a copy of with Dr. Lotus Richey, Lotus Richey Ignites. Again, I did encourage you all to sew into the Kim Jacobs Show. So please make sure you take a moment and do that today. And I'll definitely shout you out. So please feel free. It's in any amount. I don't care what amount it is. And I'm going to be shouting you out throughout different episodes. I truly appreciate your partnership. Today's episode is sponsored by drjod.com, drjod.com/healthopedia-Florida-event. That's a big event that's happening in February, and it is going to be it's yoga and health and insightful wisdom. You name it. There's like this encyclopedia type of thing of health that has 42 authors, and the conference is happening in Florida, in the Florida area. So you don't want to miss that. drjod.com/healthopedia-Florida-event. If you have questions, you can call her at 800-820-0584. It's all about health, and you definitely don't want to miss that. It's also, today's episode is sponsored by vproducts.store. Everybody loves that coffee. I don't know, whatever is infused with, some of which is infused with 6 different mushrooms. So you definitely want to visit vproducts.store, even if you just want your black coffee or mushroom infused coffee. Getinsured.solutions. That's final life expense services. And that is Samantha Benson. Reach out to her. Let her know the Kim Jacobs Show sent you her way. 704-499-3616. And if you're interested in advertising on the Kim Jacobs Show, just email us, kimjacobsshow@gmail.com, to learn how you can get your commercials advertised. It would be advertised here on the live streaming. It'll also be advertised in over 100 countries, as well as on audio podcasts through iHeartRadio, Spotify, Amazon Music, you name it, it's advertising there as well. So reach out to us, kimjacobsshow@gmail.com. That's today's episode, everyone. Have a great rest of your day. We'll see you Monday through Friday at 11 o'clock a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Have a great one. Bye-bye. Thank you for tuning in to today's episode of The Kim Jacobs Show and for being in the virtual studio audience. Your presence truly does make a difference, and I look forward to you bringing your friends and family to join you in the virtual studio audience Monday through Friday at 11 o'clock a.m. Eastern Standard Time.